Greetings. Today we're going to talk about personal response. This lesson kind of pairs with your summary lesson because the two are closely related. We usually call a single piece of writing a summary response, right? So the first section would be summary and the second section would be response. So today we're going to look at responding personally to text or responding personally to a piece of writing or literature. And we're going to focus on Kafka's Metamorphosis today. There are three ways to respond, and hear me when I say this. There are three ways to respond when you're writing a personal response. Okay, three ways, only three ways. They are number one, I agree. Number two, I disagree. And number three, I somewhat agree and disagree. You must choose one of these stances when making a personal response to a text. Then you must provide logical reasoning for your stance. So what does that mean? I agree because then I have to provide logical reasoning. Logic is simply the study of logical reasoning and common sense. We all know what common sense is. You may draw from the text itself, pointing out its flaws in logic, okay, or its strengths in logic. So we're going to be focusing on theme here. You can use your lesson or your assignment from Module 1. The lesson was over theme. You wrote a small paragraph where you articulated theme. So what are you agreeing with? What are you disagreeing with? You're agreeing or disagreeing with the theme of Kafka's Metamorphosis. Okay, so I would say something like, the theme of Kafka's Metamorphosis is ... I agree because, and then I'm going to provide logical reasoning for my stance. I'm going to provide three logical reasonings for my stance. So that's either flaws of logic in the text for the theme or useful logical reasoning for the theme in the text. Remember that a theme is it's a life lesson, right? Main idea is different. So remember we talked about topic. Topic is what the text is about. So if I make the claim, the education system in the United States is flawed, the topic is what is the text about. I should be able to articulate this in 1 to 2 words. It's about education or education in the U.S., right? Main idea is the author's opinion on that topic, education or education in the U.S. My opinion then is the education system in the United States is flawed. So that is my main idea, right? Topic, main idea. Remember that theme, however, is a life lesson. It applies to all people in all places at all times. What is the lesson that the author wants you to learn and take away from his or her piece of writing? You may also use personal experience when you are using support for I agree, I disagree, I somewhat agree. So you can use logic from the text. You can use personal experience. Personal experience can be powerful. However, alone, it's not enough to support your stance. So you have to use it with another example of logic to support your agreement or disagreement with a theme. Third way that you can support your agreement or disagreement is you can use news reports, previous readings. In other words, you can use what is going on in your world to form an analogy. Analogies are powerful pieces of logical evidence. So what is an analogy? Make sure that you get these definitions down. An analogy is a comparison, typically between two things, typically for the purpose of explanation and clarification. So you can go back into what's going on in your world, and then you can take that a step further and use an analogy or a comparison, right, to support your agreement or disagreement with the theme of the metamorphosis. So you're going to agree, disagree, somewhat agree, and disagree, and you're going to choose three. You're gonna provide three logical reasonings for your stance, right? The logic in the text, is it flawed? Is it helpful? Personal experience and previous reading, news, what's going on in your world to form an analogy or a comparison for clarification. Your assignment for this week is it's 500 words total. Okay? Write a personal analysis of Kafka's Metamorphoses. There are 3 sections to this assignment. Make sure they're all there. Number 1, re-articulate the theme that you picked out in Module 1 or the life lesson from Module 1. Provide 3 pieces of textual evidence for that theme. The theme of Kafka's Metamorphosis is, which is evident from example 1, example 2, example 3, textual evidence. Then, and you can keep this all in the same paragraph, write your personal response to that theme. Again, you can use your Module 1 assignment to help you. Here is where you will articulate, I agree, disagree, or somewhat agree and disagree with Kafka's theme of. Then you need to provide 3 logical reasonings for your stance. Use one of each problems with logic, personal experience, previous reading or news, what's going on in your world, form an analogy. 5, in 2 to 3 sentences, and you can start a new paragraph here. In 2 to 3 sentences, give your overall personal impression of the book. I liked the Metamorphosis. I disliked it. Or I somewhat liked it because, and then provide reasons for your stance. Here's how you're going to set up your paper. You're going to have your name. Your name's not Jack Spratt, but you'll change that to your name. You'll do this in a Word document. Jack Spratt, so student's name, then instructor's name, Miss Nolan, then your class, which is English 0010-100, and then the date in day, month, year format, 12th February 2019. You need to make sure that you double space your paper. Always double space your paper for MLA. Then you want a title, Response to Kafka's Metamorphosis. Center the title. So here are the 2 sections that I want to see in this paper. Section 1, 1 paragraph, personal response. Section 2, 2 or 3 sentences, my reaction. And make sure that you label them like I have here. Personal response. This is going to look something like the following. The theme of Kafka's Metamorphosis is life lesson, right? And provide 3 pieces of textual evidence to support. It is evident this is theme because, and use those 3 pieces of evidence from the text to support. Then move into your response. I agree, I disagree, I somewhat agree and disagree with Kafka that, restate theme, because, and then provide your 3 pieces of support. One should be problems with logic or logic that is effective. This comes from the text. One should be personal experience, and one should be news or previous reading. In other words, what's going on in the world. And you can use an analogy to strengthen that even more, a comparison. Be thorough in addressing these issues. Don't rush through this. I want you thinking about these things. I want you thinking about your thinking. I want you to really analyze why you agree, disagree, or somewhat agree with Kafka's theme. The second part, my reaction, we're going to label that. We're going to say I liked, disliked, somewhat liked the metamorphosis because, and then you give a few personal reasons why you either liked, disliked, or somewhat liked the text. Okay? So why do we write personal responses? We learned about summary, right, earlier, and that it reinforces the main idea and key supporting details for the main idea from the text. Summary helps us remember the key points of the text. Very important. Summary helps us remember the key points of the text. Response allows us to make an emotional connection with the text, which makes it more memorable and meaningful to us. We remember the text. We remember the theme. We remember the main idea, right? Very, very clearly. And we remember the theme. So summary and response are excellent study skills. And again, when we write a summary response, it's usually in one paper. We summarize and then we respond, right? These tools you need to put into your toolkit as you move forward and as you are studying future texts that you're looking at in English 2341.